In today's business world, the competition for careers continues to be fierce and demanding. Every year, millions of men and women enter the job market trying to be the top candidate for each position they pursue.
Employers are looking for someone who not only has the right skills and experience for the position, they're also looking for people who are the right match for their team and company.
This series was developed specifically to provide job seekers proven, effective strategies and techniques to give you the edge you need to be successful in your own job search. One of the most difficult parts of the entire job search process is knowing how and where to start.
In this program, we'll cover the important information needed to help you find the positions you're not only qualified for, but also want to do. Welcome to the ultimate job search for the 21st century.
Hello, I'm Brett Anderson. Thanks for joining us.
And I'm Tia Marlier. The purpose of this series is to answer the many questions you may have as you execute a successful job search. We'll go into detail on the elements necessary for a job search and the different approaches that work the best to help you find the career you're interested in.
We're also going to discuss ways in which you can utilize the internet as an effective tool in your job search. But getting the job doesn't end the process. We'll explain how to be an effective, valuable team member and look at ways in which to move ahead in a company or organization.
Along with the series is an interactive workbook for you to access throughout your job search. It will provide you the essential tools you'll need to fill out applications, access online resources, write your resume, and help you succeed in the job interview.
When done correctly, you will find a thorough, effective job search requires hard work, and it can be a full-time job in and of itself. But it's worth the effort when you find the career you want.
No matter where you are in your career transition, whether you're graduating from school or changing careers, transitioning out of the military, been laid off from work, or looking for your first job, we begin with answering the first most difficult question: where do I start?
I don't really know if the skills I have will match up with what an employer is looking for, or if I have to do a completely different job. I just don't know if I have what it takes.
I did some pretty specialized work in the military. I hope some of it would transfer over to jobs in the civilian world.
You know, I've gone pretty much as far as I can go with my current company. Now I'm looking for a career where I could further advance.
Knowing how and where to start is one of the more difficult parts of the process. So let's begin the job search by completing your self-assessment, by looking at your skills and the qualifications you have, and then evaluating the kind of interests and preferences you have in a job. This will lead you into finding a position you like and one where you can be a success. The first step of your self-assessment is analyzing your skills and determining what you are good at.
When I was growing up, I used to do all sorts of things with my dad around the house. Things like remodeling the kitchen, finishing a bathroom, drywalling the basement, even building a storage shed. It really gave me the skills and background that I needed to find a job that I wanted to do.
I've been playing computer games and fiddling with these things all my life, so I'm pretty much self-taught. And I can figure out things fairly quickly. It's just, I don't know which area of computers I want to pursue. Which type of career is the right one for me? Or even if I need any type of certification. I just don't know.
Back in the military, they gave me 2 years of great training and experience. And I like what I do. So it would have been foolish of me not to have used those skills when I got out.
To look at what skills and abilities you have, you need to identify your own experiences and what you're good at. Focusing on your own personal skills will more than likely direct you to the types of career fields for which you're qualified.
It's hard to hire a person who doesn't have any previous experience in that field doing it. For example, let's say if your perfect job is to be a web page designer, but you haven't had any schooling or experience, it'll be pretty tough to describe those skills on your resume, and even more difficult to demonstrate that to me in a job interview.
I think when people sit down and try to look at the skills that they have, they sometimes begin to feel like there's not a lot they can do. Let me give you a couple of examples. One person I worked with who did data entry at a loan office felt that there wasn't anything more that he could really do for a career, and he felt very limited. But when he took the time to analyze the skills and experience that he had, like answering customers' questions and doing basic filing, retrieval, and so forth, he discovered that he had a lot of career options. Now, another client I had was looking for a position doing basic maintenance and repair. Now, she had some skills she could focus on and could even demonstrate to an employer. See, she was a truck driver in the military and had also done some routine work such as plumbing in the past. Now, she also knows how to do basic electrical work, which she really enjoyed. And using her skills and experience, she focused on researching the occupations that would use her transferable skills. I think both of these clients have great skills to offer an employer. The one is qualified to work in banking, administration, or customer service. And as for the other, well, she could start off as a basic electrician and maybe get into an apprenticeship program. She could also go to night school or even get more on-the-job training to further her skills in the field that she's interested in pursuing. Or she could work as a contractor, a facilities technician, or drive a truck for a business. See, after analyzing their skills, new career opportunities came up. They just had to look a little deeper at what they could do.
You have the skills employers want. What you have to do is identify them. To determine what skills you already have, use the skills inventory page in the workbook. There you will find an extensive listing of skills. Make the list as detailed as possible and be specific. You can also use the internet by typing in the keywords skills search to find sites that can match up your skill set. Knowing what skills you have will help determine your job search path and also help you market those skills to prospective employers.
The second step of your self-assessment is identifying your work preferences. Preferences are the characteristics you would like to have in your job and work environment. You can be skilled in a particular job, but if it's something that you don't like doing or it's a poor work environment, you probably won't be motivated to go to work every day.
I worked for a few years in a large corporation in the big city. I had great pay and good benefits. But man, I hated going to work every morning. I'd find every reason in the world not to go in. Now, I own my own business building light pedestals for art galleries all around the world. I really love what I'm doing. I'm my own boss. I set my own hours, and it's always great meeting new and interesting people. It's awesome. It's what motivates me every day to go to work.
I really like this job, and I've got the skills to do the work, but it's really not fulfilling all my needs. I like working with a team and being intellectually challenged, not to mention I'd rather be indoors. So I've decided to go back to school to get my teaching certificate and be a science teacher.
When you're looking for a position, you need to find one that matches your skills and interests. Job interests are also referred to as work preferences. For example, let's say you're highly skilled on a computer and that you love that type of work. Well, there are a lot of different computer positions out there in a lot of different working environments. There's programming, data entry, network, web page development, on and on. So you need to figure out what you want in a career. Do you want to work on a team or by yourself? Would you prefer to work part-time rather than full-time? Do you want to be near home, or is having a long commute okay with you? You have to make sure your work preferences and skills work together for the best career fit.
In the workbook, there's a listing of a wide range of work preferences, such as the physical demands of a job, the work environment, typical work week of particular jobs, level of responsibility, and so forth. Research the job areas that interest you and then determine which ones match your own work preferences. When you match up your skills with what you want in a job, you'll have a better idea of what type of work fits you best. You'll enjoy going to work, get more out of your job, and stay with it a lot longer. You'll also need to research the labor market and how it can fit your own particular occupational profile. In the workbook, we've provided a list of web resources which can be used to research labor market information, as well as how to use them. You can research by location, the salary range of the position, the skills and abilities required for the occupation, even trends of that particular field. By researching the labor market information, you'll have a better idea of the best position for you.
It'll be important to look at the financial aspects as you go through your job search, figuring out your current expenses, as well as the type of salary you need from a job. Let's first take a look at how much you may need to budget for while you're looking for a job.
I was laid off about 9 months ago, and I knew it might take a long time to get another job. So I really had to cut back. I'm glad I did. Yeah, we had to get pretty creative. Like, instead of going out to eat a few times a week, we now limit ourselves to ordering a pizza or watching a video at home every once in a while. That was one of the things that we decided we could do without during that time. Cutting corners was difficult at first, but if we didn't, I have a pretty good idea of the dire straits we'd be up against.
There's no way you can predict how long it will take to find a job. It can take 2 weeks, 6 months, sometimes even longer. So you need to set up a realistic budget right away. Making a list of all your financial obligations and then evaluating which items you can do without during your job search can help conserve your finances, like disconnecting the cable TV for now, maybe taking the bus more often, or even going out to dinner less frequently. Whatever it may be, look at putting off any major or unnecessary expenses you're considering, like buying a new car or upgrading your computer. The best scenario, of course, is that you'll find a job right away and you won't have to make a lot of adjustments. But financially, planning for this transition period is a crucial step.
One thing you may want to consider is working a part-time job during the evenings or the weekends. An idea would be something like pizza delivery, or maybe working in retail, or even driving a paper route. Doing something will at least give you some income during this time to help pay the bills. And sometimes part-time or temporary jobs can also lead to full-time opportunities. And it's a lot easier to find a job when you have a job. This way, you don't necessarily need to feel obligated to take the first one that just comes around. Just don't stop looking.
In the workbook, we've created a financial worksheet to help you calculate expenses. Use this to total all of your expenses. The bottom line will show you what your monthly expenditures are and what you need to plan for. You may have to go back periodically and reevaluate all of your expenses to see what you can do without or where you can save money.
Before you can accept a job, you need to know how much the job will pay. Let's take a look at the second financial hurdle you will certainly face in your job search: determining what salary will be sufficient for you.
When I accepted my current job, it was actually a pretty good offer. Then I got my first paycheck. What a surprise. I had no idea they would take out so much. Now my take-home pay doesn't look anywhere near as good as it did in the original offer.
A lot of people accept a job offer and think the salary looks pretty good. Or maybe it's a little lower than they'd hoped for, but they figure they can get by. However, when they see their first paycheck and they have bills they need to pay, reality hits. We also have a benefits package where we deduct their health insurance, retirement, not to mention taxes and other things. These deductions account for almost 1/3 of their paycheck. Now, even though many of these items are benefits, it lowers the actual take-home pay.
One of the toughest parts to figure out when accepting a job is how to address the dreaded salary question. You should know the amount of income you need to make from a job before you actively start your job search. Remember to take into account taxes and benefits. So if you've identified the salary you need up front, when the employment offer is made, you can be ready to make the best decision for you and your situation.
Once you have completed the budget worksheet in the workbook, you can use it to help identify your salary range. It's possible you may not begin at the salary you were hoping for, but the longer you stay with the job, the more your potential income will grow.
In your job search, you will be filling out employment applications, sending resumes, searching for jobs online, along with keeping a number of records and documents you'll need throughout the job search. In order to carry out an effective job search, you need to get organized. A good way to do this is to develop your own personal job search portfolio. This portfolio is a complete, up-to-date history of your experiences and other essential information you'll need, all in one place. Once created, this will be an effective tool you can easily refer to during your job search. Your personal job search portfolio should contain your personal records, your master application, and depending on the type of job you're seeking, examples of your work. The first section of your portfolio is your personal papers. These are items that employers may ask for or items you may need to refer to in order to complete employment paperwork, such as W-9 forms or applications. You'll want to include your driver's license or ID card, your Social Security card, and specific documents that pertain to your occupation. For example, if you are looking for a position which requires driving or commercial trucking, then a copy of your motor vehicle record would be an item you'd include in your portfolio. If you are not a natural-born citizen of the United States, you will need your naturalization papers or your passport and green card. Separate all these items into the personal record section of your portfolio. The next section you need in your portfolio is your master application. This information will be necessary to refer to when you write your resumes and fill out job applications. An example of a master application is in your workbook. The master application includes your job experiences, starting with your most recent job and working backwards. Include company names, addresses, contact information for your previous supervisors, your job titles, dates of employment, salary history, and a complete, succinct description of your job duties. Also list any accomplishments and awards you may have earned in each position. When describing your job duties, list all those duties in detail. Then when you fill out an actual employment application, you can highlight the skills directly relating to the particular job you're going after. Employers are looking for key words or phrases they can match up in the application process. This is especially true with online applications. Your military experience should also be included in this section of your master application. List your rank or title achieved, along with dates and duties during your time in service. Include your DD-214, your separation papers, training, and any license and certification records, and honors and awards you've earned. The next part of your master application is your education record. List all the schools you've attended, include high schools or GED information, college if you have it, and technical schools. Also add any additional training and education you've received. For example, computer classes or programs you've taken, special skills courses or certification classes you've completed. You'll need to include attendance dates, contact information, and the major areas of study. It's a good idea to have a record of all your transcripts and any honors, certificates, and diplomas you've received. Finish off your master application with a list of any special interests you may have. These include hobbies, community activities, and any volunteer work you've done, which are not included under the employment history section. You'll find areas of the master application where it may be difficult to answer. It's important to respond to those types of questions effectively so you get the best opportunity to interview for the position.
On an application form, an employer can ask you questions on health issues, any convictions you may have, and reasons for leaving a job. It's better to be prepared and knowledgeable in addressing these now when filling out your master application. And then, when you complete the actual employment application, you will have everything you need to answer the tough questions. There may also be other areas on your master application that you may not be able to fill in, and rather than leaving the area blank, simply write in NA for not applicable. Be honest, and don't exaggerate or leave anything off your master application.
Refer to the workbook for helpful suggestions and examples of how to address difficult parts of the application. Once you've finished filling it out, have someone look it over for accuracy, spelling errors, or any suggestions they may have before you use it in your job search. The master application is designed to be your own personal reference tool you will use during your job search to complete employment applications, so be sure it's complete and accurate. The last section you want to add to your job search portfolio are examples you may need to use to show an employer. These would be examples of your work, news articles about you, web pages you've developed, portfolio work, whatever your work area. This includes letters of recognition, a complete list of references, personal licenses and certifications, anything which can enhance your chances at the job or which demonstrates your abilities. The idea is to include all the items in your portfolio an employer may need to know about you. Now realize not every occupation will require every item. Keep this information organized and up to date by putting it into a 3-ring binder or folder. You can then use a smaller folder or professional portfolio to take with you when you fill out job applications and go on interviews. Check your workbook to see detailed information of what you'll need to include in your job search portfolio. Then be sure to print out your information and add it to your portfolio.
You'll find there's a lot to keep track of throughout your job search process. It's important to map out a plan of everything you have to do and follow it. The workbook gives you an example of a daily schedule that will help keep you focused on your job search and help manage any problems that may turn up. This schedule will allow you to know what contacts you need to make, interviews you need to set up, and telephone calls you've made, all with the design of laying out your daily job search routine. Don't forget to include all names, addresses, phone numbers, websites, and email addresses of your contacts. You may also have employers calling you to set up an interview or request additional information. So create a simple, professional message on your answering machine so you don't miss any important phone calls.
Hi, you've reached Danielle Richardson. Today is Thursday, June 19th. I'm sorry I'm away from the phone right now, but your call is very important to me. Please leave a detailed message and I will be sure to return your call as soon as I can. Thank you very much for calling and have a great day.
By planning your activities and organizing your time and materials, you can keep your job search focused and on track. Refer to your schedule every night before you go to bed so you're ready for the next day.
The computer is also an important tool in your job search. Employers may correspond with you by email, so it's critical to use this professionally and check it regularly. This is where many people fail when relying on the internet in their job search.
I probably receive over 40 emails a day from prospective applicants. With that many, it's frustrating to see the ones that are poorly written, using all lowercase, incorrect punctuation, or even something as simple as misspelled words. How hard is it to read through what you've typed to an employer before you send it? I don't know who these people are or what they want. I assume they're looking for a job. And you've heard of first impressions. You have to write emails professionally to get my attention.
Everybody thinks email is a simple way to communicate. And if you're talking about the convenience and ease of it, it is. Unfortunately, people tend to get either too risky or too lazy in this type of communication. So you need to be very careful here. Letters and messages you send to an employer need to be professional and to the point. Always write your emails in business format and make sure your message is clear. Use proper grammar and spell check. However, don't rely only on spell check to correct mistakes in your email. And you also need to stay away from using colored fonts and crazy text, adding pictures or moving icons. Now, those are cool when you send it to your friends, but on your job search, stay professional. Be sure to read through the email carefully before sending it. Your email is the first impression with an employer, and you don't want it to be unfavorable.
Contrary to popular belief, email is usually not the first mode of communication you should use in your job search. It's more of a basic tool available to you. It may seem a lot easier, but picking up the telephone and calling me is a more effective way to get my attention.
During your job search, there's a very good chance you'll be filling out applications and sending resumes online, either directly to company websites or through one of the numerous career websites that are available. And in many cases, you'll be asked to use a username and password to access those accounts or respond to a job inquiry. Consider using the same username and password in your job search to stay organized. And when it comes to email account addresses, be safe and create a professional address employers can respect. Along with that, keep email responses in a separate folder so you can keep track of all of the resumes you send and correspondences you receive. After 20 or so applications with different passwords and contact information, it can become confusing and frustrating when trying to respond to the perfect job announcement.
Obviously, searching for a job can be a stressful undertaking. When you add in rejection letters and the lack of responses from your applications and resumes, classic symptoms of anger and frustration can begin to set in. And if depression sets in, it can almost paralyze your job search. No matter how ready you are for the job search, you cannot avoid the anxiety that comes with looking for a job. However, having a plan and organizing your job search can go a long way towards keeping your focus and goals in sight. Don't give up. The right job is out there for you.
I got laid off 8 months ago. I can't tell you how stressful that was. I had no idea how long it would last. I kept myself focused and I made myself work at looking for a job. First few weeks I stuck around the house, doing the usual thing. Emailing resumes, looking online, thinking I would get a job right away. But after a while, I had to get out of the house. So I started working out a few times a week, going for walks, getting out, and talking to people. I joined a job club and started asking people about their careers and sharing what type of work I was looking for. It'll work out. I've got a couple of offers I'm following up on, so it's getting close.
Stress is something that affects individuals both emotionally and physically, and it can threaten your very well-being. When you're stressed, your body feels out of sync, and it can have a powerful impact on your mental clarity, creativity, and problem-solving abilities. Now, the stress associated with a job search is no different. Job transitions are actually in the top 10 life stressors list, and a great deal of the stress is triggered by dealing with overwhelming tasks.
No kidding.
You're having normal reactions to an abnormal event. It is what it is. But before you start trying to change your emotions, it's important to recognize them and search for new ways of dealing with stressors. So, you need to engage in activities to relieve your anxiety and recharge your energy during this time. First, develop and maintain a job search plan or schedule and stick to it. But you also have to get out of the house and meet people. So network with friends or participate in a job search support group. Use techniques that have worked in the past. Also, incorporate routines with the entire family. Develop games that turn homework and everyday jobs into fun activities instead of just chores. It's important to do physical activity, especially things you enjoy, like biking, swimming, or something as simple as even walking your dog. And just as important, don't rely on substances like alcohol and drugs to relieve your stress. See, these can actually increase the emotional and physical dangers of stress. Even coffee, cigarettes, or food can be harmful vices. Much of the stress you may experience during this time will diminish as your plan comes together. You will feel a sense of relief and gradually begin to gain control over your life.
Make your job search a job, but remember to schedule time for yourself. Set goals each day and reduce your list of tasks by breaking them into small steps you can easily accomplish. And take it one day at a time. Reward yourself with the knowledge that you've made strides instead of dwelling on what still needs to be done. Feelings of stress during a prolonged job search, if not recognized and resolved, may lead to further problems. If it gets to be too much, seek professional help. Contact your doctor or clergy or someone they recommend.
Good point. This wraps up the groundwork for any job search. If you can discover the skills and experiences you have and what you want in a job, you're on the right path in your job search.
But we've only just begun. We have a lot more to cover in the other programs. For now, here's a short review of how to begin your job search.
First, focus your job search on the areas where you're skilled and experienced.
Identify the work preferences in a job and working environment you would get the most satisfaction from.
Figure out what your current expenses are and what you need to budget.
Determine the salary and benefits you need in a career that will be best for your own situation.
To carry out an effective job search, you'll need to put together an organized job search portfolio along with the master application.
Make out a detailed schedule of all of your time and activities you have to do in your daily job search and follow it carefully.
Use email and the computer as an effective tool in your job search and use them professionally.
Realize looking for a job is a stressful undertaking. Stay focused and keep your job search organized and on track. If you start off your job search down the right path, you should now have a better idea of the types of things you're good at. Now you're ready to move forward in your job search.
In the next program, we'll begin the process of looking for positions you want to pursue to see what jobs are out there and where to look.
We'll also go into detail on the different tools, resources, and techniques available to help you find the right career for you. Thanks for watching.